Are the inmates at the island's lone prison being nourished with a balanced diet? The question comes in the wake of repeated assertions ascribed to no particular source but believed to be the prisoners, made by human rights advocate and attorney Mary Francis in an interview with an online publication. Francis is quoted as saying, "They say nutrition is very poor at the facility, that they're just being fed with rice and chow mein over the past few weeks." Unquote. The press sought reaction from Minister for Home Affairs, Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, outside the Graham Louisi building.
That has always been a complaint from the prisoners at Bordelais, in that the staples that they eat because of the menu, they normally complain about the same type of food.
As coordinator of the National Center for Legal Aid and Human Rights, Francis argues that the state cannot take away someone's liberty for committing an offense and keep an individual locked up and malnourished. The BCF has to provide over 500 inmates with 3 square meals daily.
They are getting 3 meals a day because I actually visited Bordelais and they are the ones doing their own catering. However, because of the budgetary shortfall, they have to take food on credit from creditors, and sometimes the allocation of food may be a bit tight.
Francis argues the government is duty-bound to ensure that food is of an adequate standard for inmates.
It is also known that the budgetary allocation for Bordelais can hardly meet the food allocation for the inmates. So we know that the last budget did not cater for enough money to feed all the inmates that were there. However, we are trying to address that in this new budget allocation.
Dr. Poyot says the BCF may also need to revisit previous practices to ensure inmates are dutifully engaged while simultaneously meeting their own dietary needs.
In the past, they used to have a lot of the garden. They used to subsidize their food by their own local produce. But that had not continued to the extent that we wanted. So it is one where we are going to reactivate, engaging the prisoners in meaningful exercises and not just sitting in prison. We have a lot of strong young men who can work, and therefore they can engage in activities to support their own food and supplies.
The human rights advocate says she intends to write to the Home Affairs Minister on the alleged matter. Solange Alfred, HCS News Force.